in the lawsuit that KG filed against JYP, which for some reason is a public document, and the addendum annex, sorry, the attachment of the lawsuit is the actual contract of KG, and then um, I compared it to a contract in the West. And then also, there are several former trainees that talked about the contract that they signed. So I was able to compare what is the difference between a Western contract and the Korean contract, and also just how much independence an idol can really get. Leah said the thing with the chat is there are five chats going on at once. Okay, so um, the one major concern it seems of KG is that she feels like she's not really an independent artist, like she's not being treated like an artist. Hence, she's rejecting, not resent, but she's starting to reject all the restrictions because for her that is not part of art. Like what she wants to do is art and she wants to become a musician. And I think this is just my personal assessment. I think that's where the discomfort is coming from. Like she's realizing this is not for her. Like it's okay for other people, maybe, but for her, it's like this is not what I want to do. And that's why she filed the lawsuit. Now, and I think that is true, that is the main misunderstanding between a label and an artist. Like labels, production companies, management companies, a lot of people see them as patrons of art, as philanthropists, lovers or of art, when in fact they're not. They are a for-profit organization. And we need to come in terms with that because that's not going to change. Disha is asking, what do you think about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's It Ends With Us debacle? So I'll cover that in a bit. There are many things that you often will hear if you hear about artists in the West talking about their contracts. And I'll explain those terminologies. 360 deal is one of them. So in a 360 deal, the label typically invests in the artist by funding album production, marketing, touring, and promotional activities. So, for example, if you're signed under Republic or RCA or Columbia, they're going to fund your promotions. They'll market you. They'll produce your album, give you the right kind of producers, and they will also assist in brand building efforts. So they're basically creating your brand for you, right? Um, Now, if they rely solely on your sales of the music that you're selling, they won't recover their earnings, sorry, their capital. So in the 360 deal, they're actually going to take part in everything that you're earning, even if it is not just about sales of your music. So if you sign on a 360 deal, the artist agrees to share a percentage of their revenue from all income streams, not just record sales. So touring and live performances, merch sales, sponsorships and endorsements, licensing deal, and publishing rights. So if you sign like anything basically that you do, they will take part of that. The rationale is that they were the ones who invested in you and built your brand. If they did not put their money on you to market you, give you a PR training, give you the PR, give you the connection, then you're not going to be who you are. So all of this, they take part, right? The recording, merch, books, others, appearances, touring, publishing, licensing, all of those stream of income, they will take a part in that. They'll get a share. Another common thing that you will hear is sunset clause. Okay. So, in a sunset clause, an agent or manager will continue to receive a percentage of income even if you are not being managed by that person anymore. So, for example, if I'm managing BTS and I closed a deal for BTS, let's say, for example, a Netflix series, I closed that deal for them. And after 1 year, so that has been aired. And then after 1 year, BTS decides to fire me, right? So, okay, Fairlane, you're fired, they say. And I'm like, I can force you, fine. But all the income you're going to generate from that Netflix series and whatever will become of that Netflix series, maybe it becomes a movie or something, I will still get a part of it. That's called the sunset clause. But then after it gradually, my share will be gradually reduced as time goes by. Okay. So for example, in year one, I get 10%, year two, I get 8%, year three, 6%, year four, 4%, year five, 2%, and then 0% eventually. So that's the sunset deal. Okay. Even after I get fired, I still get a percentage of any of the earnings of any of the deal I closed for you. The lifetime agency clause does not go down. So they I will just continue to earn forever in the same percentage. So for as long as that song is earning, if I close that deal for that song, for as long as that song is earning, I will get 10%. That's the lifetime agency clause. So year one, 10%, year two, 10%, year five, 10%, 10%, until lifetime, I'll get 10%. A lot of agents are actually earning from this. So another thing that you will hear often, and this has become a butt of jokes in the Hollywood industry, but this is true. They have perpetual right over your likeness throughout the universe. So if Elon Musk actually succeeds and put life on Mars, and you become a star in Mars, I have a right over your likeness in Mars. So whatever you earn in Mars, I will actually take a part of that. Take part in that. Um, so anything that you produce, merch, book deals, anything, I have a right over that. So perpetual right over your likeness throughout the universe. Cindy's asking, how do you keep all this in your head and understand it? My head is spinning. Okay, the reason they put this, there's many reasons they put this part in as a clause in the contract, but one of them is the flexibility of content creation. So if they take you, so for example, I become a character in a movie and that character becomes popular, and they decide that they are going to do a spin-off of my character, then they want to make sure that they have the right to do that, right? They have the right to do that. And so they want flexibility for content creation. That's one of the many reasons that they put that clause. So if that character becomes a character in a game, they want to make sure that they have rights over that. Um, film sequels, video games, merch, all of that. They want to make sure that they have rights over that. Okay. They also want, in the contract for K-pop, they also want total control over your physical appearance and demeanor. I want to make it clear that this is not just physical appearance, but also demeanor. So they can dictate how you're going to act in public. And many other idols have talked about how the agency actually controls it. I think it was maybe got seven, one of the got seven members. No, maybe not got7, but he was talking about the character that was given to him was supposed to be the mysterious type. So when in fact he's actually a bubbly person, but because he was given the mysterious character, he can't really laugh out loud. He doesn't really smile. He doesn't talk much during the interviews, even though he really wants to say a lot. But because that was the role that was given to him, he was trained to act a certain way. So they're not just taking over your hair, tattoos, piercing, how tan you're going to get, how many pounds you're going to gain or lose. They're also taking control over how you're going to act in public. Ownership of everything you produce. So they will get ownership of everything you produce: songs, videos, social media, and all of its content. If you want, Gina Everywhere is a former trainee in Korea, an idol, and she signed several trainee contracts. Mnet, he was a trainee for JYP once. I think he was a trainee for Starship, and she talked about some of the clauses in the contract. I integrated some of it here, but I will leave the link of his post where she discussed the contract, so you can watch it if you want. So this is her. That's Gina, and she was talking about um yeah, so she said, like, I got one contract and into another. Many people knew the circumstances that I was still an attractive artist to be signed, hence the continued signing fee. So she was talking about signing fees. So she negotiated that if she's going to sign with an agency, she wants a signing bonus, basically. So an outright payment for having signed in the agency. She never debuted. I think she decided it wasn't for her, right? Like a year before she was going to debut, she decided it wasn't for her, so she decided to leave. But at the time when she was training, they really wanted her. She was an attractive talent for them, so they wanted to give her. So she had the leverage. She was able to negotiate for some terms, including signing fee. She also said that nowadays, training fee is being taken out. It is becoming common for the agency to not charge the trainee, the idol, for training. So I'm sure that many of you know that in the old times, like like first gen, second gen, they actually have to pay for their training. Now you can actually negotiate for it to be taken out. And if they like you enough, they'll take it out. And then they're also trying to negotiate the ownership of social media talents. So many of these uh, trainees, once they become formal trainees of an agency, you're not allowed to own your own social media. So they will allow you to open your social media, but they own it. And if you leave, you have to leave your social media account with them. So if you uploaded any kind of video, that goes to the agency. Everything that is going to earn it, that channel or social media account will earn, goes to the agency. But she said, Gina said, that now you can actually negotiate, and if they like you enough, they will allow you to own the social media channel that you created after you leave the agency. Um, Okay. So this is a capture of one part of her interview. She said, when it comes to online sales, so she was talking about the how they split the income. She said it's not fixed. You can negotiate that. So sometimes it happens that there are it's in some instances, different members of a group will have different income distribution. So, like, for example, this is just an example. Like John Smith will get it has a 70-30 share. 70 goes to the agency, 30 goes to John Smith. And then, like, Paul Smith will get 80%, and then sorry, Paul Smith will get 20%, and the agency get 80. So it's not fixed. You have to negotiate for it. So she said, when it comes, but you can't be unreasonable as well, especially because nowadays it's all about streaming. The agency actually doesn't get a lot as well, and almost 50% goes into the platform. So she said, when it comes to online sales, the management doesn't get that much to begin with. The distributors get almost half of it, and then the production company, and then the artists get their share. So whatever is left is actually what's distributed to the talent and to the agency. So it's not like you can ask 60%, because not even the management gets that much. Okay. So it all depends on how desirable you are for them. So for, like, as you know, my favorite member of Mauve or Meow is Ella Gross, but she has been chased by she was like the Black Label actually courted her. So she had the leverage to negotiate her contract. So if you are desirable enough, you can actually negotiate. Now, some can negotiate for creative control, such as a guarantee to be given the chance to write or participate in the creative development. There are groups like BTS who has had creative control from the very beginning. So as you know, Bang Shiyuk actually made a commitment to BTS that they will always sing the songs that came from them, that they will write all the songs, that they will always have the final say. So from the beginning, that was something that BTS asked for. Okay. Even before They had the star power to do it even before they proved their worth, commercial worth. They already negotiated for that. It was very clear that for Suga and RM and J-Hope, the three original members, to stay, he needed to give that guarantee, and Bang Shiuk gave that guarantee. Some land in an agency that nurtures their dreams. As you know, for IU, right after the first album, she started taking control over her own creative. So she started writing music, she started making the decisions and everything. And Edam, or what was the original name of her agency, they gave her that creative control. And it was also the album that sort of made her become this popular. That started her journey to becoming the IU that we know now. Stray Kids from the beginning was given total independence when it comes to their music. In fact, for JYP, if JYP wants to give them a song, she actually has to go to the leader, Bang Chan, to ask if he can give them a song. So they make all the calls when it comes to their career. And then you have Source Music, who has learned from their experience, from Hybe's experience or Big Hit's experience, to give their members or their idols creative control. So they're now nurturing Yoonjin's writing and production skills. So she is given the chance to, and she's allowed to release her own music. And I'm going to make a prediction that in 2025, she's actually going to release a mixtape. Some actually renegotiates their contract as they gain popularity. So, for example, Mamamoo, halfway through their contract, started taking creative control over their own music and their own schedule, to the point where, according to the CEO himself of the company RBW, they sort of became the go between the members. Like they were just, the members were making all the decisions and they were just making things happen for them. The same thing happened with G Idol. So after the second or third album, Soyeon, the leader and also the primary producer and songwriter, she just started taking creative control, and it was something that she renegotiated. So the main thing, the main difference is that we do need to remember that a label is a business. They are there to sell, and an artist is there to create music. So if you're a fan, you have, it's natural for us to, of course, want the best for the artist that we are supporting, but let's not lose of the fact that that is the nature of the beast. A label is a business, and they will always try to make some money. So it's kind of where we can't expect a snake to start walking, because that's not their nature. Right? The same way we can't expect a dog to start talking, because that's not something they do. So labels are there to start to make money. So we always need to make sure that we understand that concept. If you don't have the money, so this is the for the artist, if you don't have the money to invest in yourself, then you need to work for the agency, work hard until you actually start returning the capital of the investment of the agency, and you gain enough influence. Then you can control your own creatives. And this is something that the now CEO of Big Hit actually said. This is her line to all the trainees in Hybe, that once you come and join Hybe, make sure that you understand that you're working for the company, that this is not like a passion project, that you're doing this because you want to further or advance art. You're here to work. And the Hybe is actually, and the labels under it, they're all companies that are trying to make, all of them are for profit, not just Hybe, but also YG and SM Entertainment and